Hey, I am so grateful. Thank you, Lord, for all you have done for me. Good evening, good evening. I come here just to express my joy, my excitement, and to congratulate myself for reading the Bible in 6 months for the second time. I make sure I don't mind you. I'm excited, all right? I'm excited. If you do something like this, you're gonna be excited too, right? Oh my Lord, my Lord, my Lord. My goodness gracious. All right, all right, all right. Good evening, everyone. I just want to come online to just give God the praise. To give God the praise because I have done something that is huge. Others might not see it that way, but let me tell you something, it means a lot to me. Reading the Bible in 6 months for the second time is no easy job. So for that, I say congratulations to moi. Moi, yes, moi means me. I am congratulating myself, and I also want to use this moment to encourage somebody. Encourage somebody sitting out there to do the same thing. Read the Bible. Read it. I'm telling you, there's a lot you will learn in that Bible that you wouldn't have ever known hadn't it been that you do it for yourself. You don't need to go to Bible school to know about the Bible. You don't need to go to church and let the pastor be teaching you about the Bible every single day, because they will not read the Bible for you from the first book, which is Genesis, to the last one, which is what? Revelation. All right. I did read the Bible in 6 months. This was the one I used. Tony Evans, the study Bible. I read it in 6 months, but I was actually using an app, to do that because it helped to keep me on track and stuff. And I finished yesterday. Congratulations to me. Somebody should clap for me. I did it. I did it. I did it. Well, everything in everybody's life is different. There are some things that some people consider small or consider nothing. There's some that they consider big. And to me, this is one of my major things. I got into this year with being one of my goals to be able to read the Bible and finish it again in 6 months. I did it last year. And to tell you the truth, you would think that this year is going to be easier. But this year was tough. It was so hard going through the Bible again for the second time. And there was every reason for it to be easy for me, because I actually did this together with some friends and family. There's some people that I did not even know that joined the Bible, the app, and we're reading together. So many of them fell through. They stopped along the way. That is understandable. I know they will pick up at some point, but I still continued. I know the fact that I'm done, I'm about 6 days early because I wanted to just finish and just celebrate Christmas, right? I still have another person who is still reading. So by the 29th, she'll also be done. So two of us actually concluded and read the Bible till the end for 6 months. And it's a huge thing. That's a huge thing. If you see that there are things that you congratulate yourself for, when you achieve this, it's a milestone. You congratulate yourself, just like I'm congratulating myself, just like I am celebrating myself, because it is worth it. All right. A couple of things that I learned from reading the Bible. It's like the Old Testament and the New Testament, and they are all different. They all carry stuff that both of them could have the same thing, but Old Testament has its own teachings, New Testament has its own teachings. There are a lot of things that I picked up, especially from the Old Testament. The book of Ruth in the Old Testament, I hold it so much to heart. There was something about Ruth, the friendship that Ruth had with Naomi. I'm telling you, that friendship was awesome. As a mother, as a woman, as a girl, that's the kind of friendship you look up to having. As a girl, to have that with your mother-in-law. As a mother, as a woman, to have that with my own daughter-in-law, right? It was really good. I call it, I wrote it here, that the friendship between Ruth and Naomi is a relationship where the greatest bond was their faith in God. Would you like to have such a relationship with your daughter in law? A bond where your faith is in God, the kind of relationship that you have with your daughter in law, no matter what is going on between the two of you, but you know that your faith is in God. It's a kind of relationship of a strong mutual commitment, all right, to one another. It doesn't matter if my son is no longer alive, it doesn't matter if my son is causing you problems. It doesn't matter what is going on in your life, but me as the mother and you, the girl, we have a strong commitment, mutual commitment to one another because we are connected. The fact that you brought that son into the world and the son is connected to another woman, you have to be connected to the woman that the son is actually connected to at that particular point, which in our case is Ruth and Naomi, right? And then I said the third one, I say is a relationship in which each person tried to do what was best for the other. Whoa! Where are the mother-in-laws out there? Those of you who have, you already have some the daughter-in-laws. Where are you guys? Is that the kind of relationship you want? Is that the kind of relationship you actually live in? My kind is a kind of relationship where each person try to do what is best for the other. Father, please make me be that kind of mother-in-law who will do the best thing for my daughter-in-law just because, right? Yeah, so the book of Ruth, I always go back to it and I pray. I just want to be that kind. I just want to have that kind of relationship. And why do I go hang on to the book of Ruth? Maybe it's because I have boys. Yeah, mother of boys, mama of boys. When you have three boys who are adults and you look at them every single day, you're like, father, father, right? So there's also this book in the Old Testament that taught me some lessons. Exodus is a lot in Exodus. I mean, this guy called Moses, his love for God, his obedience, his persistence was beyond this world. And when you see somebody like that, you start to think in your mind, are there people like that? Somebody supposed to have this kind of love for God when everything is not going right? Is somebody supposed to listen and be so obedient? Moses wanted to kill his only child because the Lord told him to. Obedience. Moses left his own comfort zone, his home, which was everything for him, to go to a strange land that he didn't even know. Because of what? Obedience. The Lord told him, keep going. And when you arrive there, I will tell you. And he obeyed. He obeyed. Had people who were following behind him, followers who every single day they had to do was curse him and blamed him for taking them for a place where they were having, it doesn't matter how bad they were living there. Anytime they have any difficulties, Moses is to be blamed. But he had so much love for God. His obedience yielded trust in God. So when I look at Moses, somebody comes to mind. My own apostle, Queen Belema Abili. This is a woman who lived her whole life in the club, promoting dancers, promoting musicians. I mean, just in the world, doing the things that, we think is the best thing. But the Lord called her. And when she accepted that call, there are things that she's done in her life that I watch her, I'm like, whoa, whoa. When people like that turn around or really change your life in front of you, it gives you more reason to believe that there is a God. It gives you more reason to believe in this world that you know what, no matter what is going on in our lives, our Father in heaven is still there. God is alive. today, watching us, taking care of us, and doing everything for us. If we can listen, if we can obey, if we can just be faithful to his word. This lady, woman of God, Queen Belema Abili, what she has gone through because she gave her life to Christ is something that if you have never watched her, you should watch and follow her teachings. She left her own hometown. When I talk about Moses, that's what I'm comparing to her because I see it in life today. She left her own hometown. This is somebody who's living in Houston, everything was fine, comfortable in Houston, and she heard the Lord say she had to move to Columbus, Ohio. She left in 2 days, packed her stuff, took her son, drove. Is it 16 hours? Supposed to be 16 to 17 hours, but they drove for 20 something hours to Columbus, Ohio. She stayed in a hotel, keep listening to the Lord, did not know what to do. Stayed there, stayed in that hotel. Soon I had to be in an Airbnb, stayed there, still listening to the Lord, going through everything that every other person you not even want to go through, being inconvenient, but she continued doing God's work. While in Columbus, Ohio, she bought a land still for God, paid cash. I'm not saying that, because she paid cash, that's why you listen to her. No, paid cash because she listened and she obeyed. Some people will not do that. And it is not any kind of cash, it's big amount of money. Because of her discomfort and obedience to God, she ended up buying her own house, built her own house from scratch, still in Columbus, Ohio. But it's all listening. This lady has a heart of gold. Despite all the persecution she's going through, she never stopped preaching. She comes online, she will preach for hours. And what is her preaching? Follow God, love God, seek God, repent. My goodness. So many of us have learned a lot because of who she is today. So when I read, the book of Exodus and I see everything that Moses was doing, all his persecution, how he handled it, and I look at this woman of God, I know the Bible is coming to life for me. Right? Another book in the Old Testament that I love is Esther. Esther, I'm telling you, the book of Esther, that one holds my heart every single day. Esther has given me that strength, the courage to do a lot. A year ago when I actually left my home, I say this with so much confidence, with so much peace, with so much joy. I really don't care how I bring it out. Yes, I left my marital home because it was time. It was time to leave. It's like that moment when you are connected. You just get connected when you start listening to that voice of God, and it is time. And when the Lord says move, you move. Because if you stay one more night, probability that you will not leave is very high. I was holding on to the book of Esther. I said, Father, if I perish, I perish. It's time for me to get out. I lived a relationship that was so hard. I could not understand. I did everything I could do to make sure that things were right, but I realized I would have died because I was keeping things in me. I would have died because I was thinking I was going to bring peace. I would have died because I was thinking, okay, well, this thing is this way, so let me make it this way. No, 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 no. There is abuse that you call emotional. This abuse that you use words. If you're living in a relationship where the words of your partner can tear you into pieces and you keep holding on or hanging on to the words, thinking that things will get better, I want to advise you to seek God. Seek God because He will give you an answer. Everybody's answer doesn't have to be the same. Your answer doesn't have to be that you have to move out. Your answer could be something different that could fix it. Yet I think it was time. It was time for me. And when I hold on to Esther, I know it was time because Esther took a decision at a time when she did not even know What will come out of it? Esther took a decision at the time when she was like, hey, you know what? I perish. I will go and see the king. I will fast and pray for 3 days and I will do it. Oh, I took a decision. I fasted and prayed 7 days. And on the 7th day, I heard the voice, move out. I said, Father, moving out to where? I've never rented. I've stayed, my goodness, 26 years married, not being able to rent anywhere. Don't even know what it means to rent. He said, move out. Oh, no, I can't move out. But it was so clear and loud. And I started searching with nothing. When I say with nothing, people think I'm joking. With nothing, I moved out because I had confidence, I had faith. I knew the Lord was with me. I knew it was time. I moved out at the most difficult moment in my life when I just gave a kidney to my son. No strength, but the Lord strengthened me throughout that period. He gave me the strength that I would have never, ever had, no matter how hard I struggled to get it. He gave it to me. And I used that strength. And to God be the glory. I am here today stronger and better than ever. Still seeking God, still loving Him, still doing what is right for Him, So, Book of Esther was my strength. Book of Esther gave me courage. Book of Esther, as I finished reading it, even when I moved into my own place, that was what I kept reading. I'll read, I'll hold on to it. I'm like, Father, just as you turned Esther's story, same way you will change my own story. Just as you turned Esther to move what is from grass to grace, so too will you turn my own story, oh Lord, from this heartbrokenness to joy, to love, to peace. And He is doing it for me. So when you read the Bible and you compare it with things in your life, it makes it so much easier. Another book in the Old Testament I loved is the book of Job. Job's story is interesting, okay? When I look at Job, I'm like, hey, never be comfortable with your situation. You could be this bad today, but tomorrow or even the next second, your story will change. With Job, that is when you know that there is something called grass to grace. And with Job, is something you know that there is something called grace to grass. So never take any moment of your life for granted. Every moment in your life, celebrate it, enjoy it. Look how you can make it better, because it is not the last phase in your life. So if you're in a situation, in your place in your life today where you think the world is coming to an end, if you're in a place in your life today when you think nobody is doing anything to help you, if you're in a place in your life today where you think, oh my goodness, the holiday season is coming, I don't have money, I don't have anything, people are looking down on me, I want to encourage you. Go read the book of Job. Job lost everything. Every single thing, and it didn't even end just with losing this stuff. Job ended up he was infected, his body was swollen with everything, boils. The wife was accusing him every single day, abusing him. That, listen, what kind of God do you serve? Curse that God and die. Job still believed in his Father in heaven. And he turned his story around eventually, right? He turned his story around. He had it all. He lost it all. But he still believed. And he got it back. Do you believe? The Bible is good, my brothers and sisters. It is good. Things that happen in our life is in the Bible. You can always find an answer in the Bible. So that's it for the Old Testament. There are many other books in the Old Testament. I'm telling you, that Old Testament is a struggle, but it has lessons. Everything that is happening in this world, good, bad, and ugly, is in the Old Testament, and it's in the world. The good thing with the Bible is there's always a solution, despite the good, bad, and ugly, right? So let's go to the New Testament. A couple of things I learned from the New Testament. Easy, sweet New Testament. I love it. New Testament is like, you know what? It's like a book that every chapter is the same, right? The Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is the same story. Story of Jesus. Jesus lived a short life, but his story is huge. That is like the first one before you start putting all the Acts of the Apostles and every other thing that follows through in the New Testament. But when it comes to miracles, that's where you start learning. Because when you see the New Testament and then you see the men of God and women of God today, people who actually were called, I say the ones who were called, because there are some of them who call themselves men of God and women of God, they are not called. Hey, those ones, they come to cause you more problems. They come to curse you than to bless you. But you have to be able to look, read, pray, read, know the spirit. It is not every man of God that you just go to. You have to seek them in the spirit to know that it is right for you to go there. So in the New Testament, there are lots of things that we'll learn. At least first, when you start getting about all the miracles, right? I have a couple of them that I have in my head. Where Jesus fed for 5,000 people. 5 loaves of bread. Who doesn't know that one? It's a miracle that Jesus did. Jesus calmed the storm by walking on it, and Peter, Simon Peter, the doubter, wanted to find out why Jesus was doing that, if he was a ghost, and they asked him to do it. And because he was scared, he almost drowned, right? How Jesus turned the demons, to send the demons into pigs. So some people don't eat pigs now. Maybe it's the story of the New Testament that's making it not to eat it, because all the demons were sent to the pigs nearby. The demon said, you know what? Instead of sending us back, can you just put us in the pigs? And Jesus send them all to the pigs, right? We learned about Jairus' daughter, who was raised from the dead. We learned how Jesus healed the paralyzed man, how Jesus healed also the demon-possessed boy. So many of them. In the New Testament, there's also the one how Peter's mother-in-law was healed. Oh yes, there's a lot of things. Jesus did not only walk with his disciples and stuff, he actually healed the disciples' also family. Peter's mother-in-law was healed in the New Testament. How the blind man received his sight. What was his name again? Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus. I'm African, so there's certain things that we don't know how to pronounce. Yeah, how Jesus cursed the fig tree. Oh my goodness, Jesus was so hungry. Just to tell you, Jesus wanted to eat so bad and went to the fig tree. Fig tree could not even produce the kind of fruit that he wanted. So Jesus cursed the damn thing. So you know what? From today, you will never produce any fruit anymore. To tell you that Jesus, when he's fasting, he also gets hungry when he fasts. So when we're fasting and praying, it's not an easy thing to fast this stuff. Jesus did that. And when the fig tree couldn't produce what he needed, so he cursed the fig tree. How the widow's son was raised from the dead, how Lazarus was raised from the dead, all still in the New Testament, right? We saw all New Testament also. Jesus liked to speak in parables. Lots of parables that you get in the New Testament. When you read them, it's all encouraging. It helps you, it changes your life, it makes you to look at things differently. There's a parable of the mustard seed, the parable of the wealthy fool, the parable of the lost coin, the parable of the lost sword, the parable of the wedding feast. You might remember all of these parables, right? These are all the interesting things in the New Testament. New Testament is fun. The parable of the Good Samaritan. We all know that one, right? The parable of the dishonest accountant, the parable of the unjust judge. I know that one so good because, hey, as a lawyer, you like to jump into those things and learn more about them. The parable of the lost sheep and the parable of the proud Pharisee and the corrupt tax payer. Many, 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 many more parables. But those are the good things in the New Testament. I like the miracles, I like the parables, and so many other stories. They are all just interrelated. The New Testament is long, it has a lot of interesting things for us to read in. So this is my encouragement to each and every one of you. Read the Bible. If you're somebody who's never done it, take time to read it. If you're somebody who is thinking about it, you don't know what to do, inbox me. I'll help you. The way I read the Bible, I actually use the Bible app to do it. You don't need to use the Bible app. You can read it directly from the Bible itself. But this is very hard. Why? Because there are times that there are some lessons in the Bible that is just out. I'm telling you, like boring. They start telling you stories, about reading names, ancient names, ancestral things, and just keep going and going. You're like, what is this? But when you're listening, the audio, it is different. Right. So I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of the people who actually joined me in this journey. There's so many of them, people that I know, others that I don't even know, but because they were all had a purpose, we all had a goal, we jump into it, even though they did not finish. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I know they will still come back to it. At least they started, they ended somewhere, and they're still gonna do it. So congratulations to me. Congratulations for reading the Bible in 6 months. And you know how I do it. I'm gonna put music here and play because this is just so let us this is a song by my sister, the PDM School of Power, Apostle Felicia. I bet I get my drums, Hey, let us praise His name. He's a Lion of Judah, let us praise His name. Amen. When I clap for me, hey, let us praise His name. He's the King of Kings, let us praise His name. He's the King of Kings, let us praise His name. Hey, let us praise His name. He's the Prince of Peace, let us praise His name. He's the Prince of Peace, let us praise His name. He's the Prince of Peace, let us praise His name. Hey! Yes, sir. Oh, yeah! Hey! Yes, sir. Let us sing hallelujah to the King of Kings. Let us sing hallelujah to the King of Kings. Let us sing hallelujah to the King of Kings. Let us shout hallelujah to the King I am. Let us shout hallelujah to the King I am. Let us shout hallelujah to the King I am. Hallelujah to the great I am. Hallelujah. Hallelujah to the great I am. Hey! Yes, so join me to celebrate. Hey! Hey! Power, 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 power. Hey! Look at she done down. celebrate when you read the Bible in 6 months. Eh? It's not easier. It's not easier. Eh? Shake it. Shake it. Hey. Thank you, 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 thank you. Hey! Thank you, everyone. Go with your Bible.